Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Dwi Anggraini from class XI-4, absent 17. Today, I will share a horror story called Road Trip. Enjoy the story, guys. This incident remains a mystery to this day. Sometimes, I wonder if I really experienced it or if it was just something I imagined. About 25 years ago, I went on a trip alone in my car. You might ask why I went on a trip alone, but at the time, I didn't really have anyone to travel with. The destination of my trip was in southern part of my country, which was quite far from my home. So, it was a long drive. I left in the morning and arrived at my destination in the evening. It was a very small town. The sun had set to the dark, and there was not a single person in sight. I drove slow and looked for a motel nearby as was I driving along. I saw a small bridge ahead of me and a man sitting on the chair next to the bridge. When I suddenly noticed the man in the darkness, I got startled and stopped the car. When I rolled down the window and asked what was wrong, the man came closer, looked me up and down and said, "Don't cross the bridge." Then I asked him, "Why?" in a slightly annoyed voice, wondering if was a word halfway through. Then the man said, "Don't go over this bridge. Only designated people can cross this place." I was feeling exhausted after the long drive and shouted, "Who says that?" The man mumbled something, but I couldn't hear him. I was troubled. What should I do? I frantically thought to myself, if I don't cross this bridge, going around would take me an extra 20 minutes. But I was tired and didn't want to drive any longer. So I shouted at him, "Sorry, I have just go." The man stared at me for a few seconds. Then he went back to his chair and sat down. I eventually just went over the bridge, and the man continued to watch me with a strange expression. While I was crossing the bridge, I heard a sudden loud noise. It sounded like something huge had fallen on the car, and I felt the car shake. I was startled, and I stopped on the brakes. I slowly looked up at the top of the car, through the window shivering. I couldn't see anything. I was so scared to go outside that I just froze there, not knowing what to do. I looked in the rear-view mirror, and the man who had been sitting there was just still staring at me. I was wondering what to do, and then suddenly, at that moment, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something slowly coming down from the top of the car. It was a huge yellow hand. It knocked on the window. I screamed because I was so surprised. Then the hand slowly came down and tried to open the car door. I quickly pressed the button to lock the door. Fortunately, I locked it in time and the door did not open. I saw that incredibly huge arm right in front of me, and huge shadow covered the entire car. It was definitely an incredibly huge thing. However, I couldn't see what it looked like. I only saw its arm. However, the arm alone was so huge that it nearly covered the entire window. I couldn't tell what it was trying to do, and it was just moving quietly, trying to open the door. My whole body was shaking like crazy, even though I had closed all the window as terrible stench began. For some reason, I felt like there was a hazy fog in front of my eyes. I started feeling like I couldn't catch my breath, and my vision was getting blurry and fuzzy. I felt the fear of death, and I had a premonition that I would die if I didn't get off the bridge quickly. I stepped hard on the accelerator. The car shot forward like a bullet, and then the thing on top started to punch the window. Then the window broke with a loud noise. I stepped harder on the accelerator, and fortunately the bridge wasn't long, so I was soon off the bridge. When I crossed the bridge and had reached the flat ground, the giant arm disappeared, and the shadow covering the car also disappeared. I looked in the rearview mirror and vaguely saw a huge yellow crater crawling underneath the bridge. It was huge, but I couldn't see exactly what it looked like. I stopped the car for a moment and got out. My legs were shaking and I couldn't breathe properly. So I ended up collapsing to the ground for a moment. Luckily, I found a motel and asked the staff about the bridge, but he said he didn't know anything. However, I saw sweat dripping down his forehead, even though it was cool autumn day. Did he know something? I couldn't find answer. I returned home right away in the next morning. Of course, I went back using a different road, not the bridge. It's been about 25 years since that incident. Even now, I don't understand what I saw then. Was I hallucinating? But I remember that window of my car really broke. So, that means it really happened. But I still have more questions that I can't answer. Why was that man sitting next to the bridge? And why did he say that to me? Who was he? Did he know something? And the more terrifying question is, what if my car door had opened, or if I hadn't gotten off the bridge at the moment? What would have happened to me? That's all the horror story. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.